Hey, want to skip those ads and get early access and bonus episodes of all Banana for Scale shows? Hop on over to truestory.fm/join and discover all the cool perks that come with being a member of the Banana for Scale family. Coming up on The Devil's Details, Wormwood.
Wormwood what?
Wormwood give us a 5-star review.
No. Wormwood?
Would you worm you in a boat? Could you on a horse? What about 4? Good morning, Star, and welcome to another episode of The Devil's Details, a show where we dig up, decipher, dissect, and deconstruct the many forms of the devil. One of my names is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I sometimes go by Keenan Diaz.
Yes, and we're just two lost souls hitchhiking down the highway to hell. All right, and folks, we are in Chapter 8 of the Book of Revelation. Mm-hmm. Yes, we had some 6-7 jokes previously, and Keenan has a Chapter 9 joke all ready.
Oh, good.
And we couldn't think of anything for this one except Wormwood. So there it is.
That's what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Eat it and weep.
Yup. Worm shoulda, woulda, coulda. Yeah. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God, out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer, and filled it with fire of the altar, and cast it into the earth. And there were voices, and thunderings, and lightnings, and an earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the 3rd part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the 2nd angel sounded, and, as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the 3rd part of the sea became blood. And the 3rd part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the 3rd part of the ships were destroyed. And the 3rd angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the 3rd part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the 3rd part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters, because they were made bitter. And the 4th angel sounded, and the 3rd part of the sun was smitten, and the 3rd part of the moon, and the 3rd part of the stars, so as the 3rd part of them were darkened. And the day shone not for a 3rd part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld, and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels, which are yet to sound.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Yeah, getting serious here.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you got Joey Lawrence making an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
I was going to say, whoa. Yeah.
You know, from, oh God, what's that movie we always talk about? Joey Lawrence in it.
Not Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire, yeah.
Oh, really?
Right. Yes.
Wait, who's Joey Lawrence?
Joey Lawrence's little brother is in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh. Well, there we go.
Sorry.
Well, I was wondering how we were going to fit that in, and we did. Perfect.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. And there was much sadness and gnashing of teeth in the outer darkness. Yes.
Matthew Lawrence. I apologize.
There
to
we
the
go.
For not knowing them yet.
That's why I didn't understand your joke.
All right, but yeah, we're starting to get some of the violence that we've been, as we've been rereading the chapters. We're like, I don't know if it's as violent. Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
There we are. Right. It's always with the wormwood.
Right. A third of this, a third of that.
Mm-hmm,
Gone.
Yep.
I want him dead. I want a third of him dead. I want a third of his family dead.
And I want a third of the trees. Boss, does that mean like a third of all the trees on the earth, or just like 1/3 of each tree?
1/3 of each tree.
Yes. So it's like the tips of the tops of the Christmas trees, Where would the angels sit? Oh, don't you worry about the angels.
Don't you worry about the angels. Don't you worry about a third of the angels.
Yes. This isn't God. This is the GODfather.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right. But what is your experience with this chapter? The only thing I know from it is Wormwood.
Oh, okay. That was new to me. But I know that when the Lamb opens the seventh seal, there'll be silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. That I know, especially because of the Ingmar Bergman film, The Seventh Seal.
Okay. Yes, you were talking about like why the Ingmar Bergman film is called The Seventh Seal and not The Fourth Seal, where death obviously is. So right, I'm excited for this. That's yes. A good point. Right. But yeah, okay. Yeah, let's look at this. So, folks, this is the seventh seal, and we get like the silence in heaven, right, for the space of half an hour or about half an hour.
About
right?
half an hour, right?
Yes. So yeah,
about the space. Oh, wait, well, no, what is it? About half an hour or about the space for half an hour?
All right. Other podcasters have commented on this, and so I tried to avoid it, but you naturally came across it. So that, yeah, let's look. There was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour.
Right.
Right. So it sounds like Swordmouth Jesus is telling this to John.
Right.
And John is asking questions. And so Swordmouth Jesus says, and then there was silence in heaven. And John writes that. He's like, silence in heaven. Got it. For how long, Jesus? And this is when Swordmouth Jesus, he was about to say the next thing. And John kind of tripped him up. And he's like, about half an hour? I don't know. And then before he can say anything, John has already written that down. Exactly. It's like, no, don't. Fine.
So it is about half an hour. It's about the space of half an hour. So time is not space. Or no, wait, time is space,
yes.
It turns out. But they wouldn't know that till the 20s, I think. Time is space.
About the space. So, are we looking at like the older meaning of about, meaning like around?
That had just occurred to me now as we were talking about that. Right?
It's like you wear a belt about your waist.
Right. Yeah. So about the space of heaven, I've always read it as about the time of half an hour. But that's not how you would say that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Unless in heaven these are like parsecs, and parsecs are not a measurement of time but of distance.
Right. As we know from that other scripture. Yeah.
Right.
But no, like other people have pointed this out, the about the space, like about the space of half an hour, right?
Right.
It seems like everything else is very specific. It's a third of this and a third of that. But it's like, how long? About half an hour.
Yeah, and then when you go and look at how different Christian sects interpret this about half an hour, none of them take it literally anyways. And it's all like this was 32 days, or this was 32 years, or this was 70 years, or this is 1,000 years, or any of it. So none of them that I found, maybe there are some out there, they all seem to already interpret as a metaphor for some amount of space that's not half an hour.
So this is the thing they don't take literally, is the most specific thing. Like the exact, like about half an hour. Like that's, interesting. Right?
Yeah, it's about 28 minutes, but he didn't want to say it that way. So
Right. Yeah.
He didn't have a sundial on him. So
right. They could have said, Keenan, a third of an hour.
Well, that would be 20 minutes now, wouldn't it?
But but wouldn't that be just so fitting with everything? There was a third of this and a third of that.
Oh my
and
gosh.
a third of an hour.
You're right.
Dear John of Patmos. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
So just let me go through some of these really quickly. So some of the sects say the silence is a 70-year period.
Oh, okay.
And that is a historical period from when Constantine defeated Licinius, which we all very familiar with.
Who doesn't know about that?
To when Alaric invaded the Roman Empire. Which we all know. So that's 70 years. I've also seen other places where, some people have assumed that Wormwood is also historical and means a certain invader, a certain Hun or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, so some of the time periods are like that as well. But then I have other ones here where it's 3.5 years is this silence. Yeah, so, and then the silence is from the ascension to the second coming. So it's thousands of years. So it's all over the place of what this silence actually is, even though it literally says about half an hour.
Yeah, interesting.
About how long the Noid has to get to your pizza is this silence.
Otherwise, your pizza is redeemed in the blood of the Lamb, as we all know.
Right.
Right. But no, okay, yeah, let's start with this silence, right? So when the seventh seal opens, there is silence in heaven for about half an hour. In our popular reading, this is the calm before the storm. That's how I always kind of like interpret it as like, oh, this is like, right before like the big explosion, right before like the battle, in the movies with, like Lord of the Rings, where it gets super, super quiet right before Aragorn like lets his sword fall and the armies behind him just kind of like rush, Right. I don't know if that actually happened in the movie. I'm just kind of,
okay.
you know,
All
no,
right, good.
But yeah, the silence right before like the big kind of like cacophony of sound.
Right. Yes.
That's what I thought. Right.
Yeah.
So we have this idea in popular culture. It's like heaven pauses in awe or dread before the terrible judgments are about to unfold. Right. The silence shows the gravity and the seriousness of what's coming. Right. So and some interpreters say like it's specifically to hear the prayers of the martyrs rising up. Right, like the duration of half an hour is taken literally. Some say 30 actual minutes of silence in heaven.
Right. I saw that interpretation a lot. That this is when it would be so instantaneous with the breaking of the seal that everyone on Earth would like do their best. Like some of them are going to be reverent and really mean it, but others are going to be kind of this is my time to like say my last piece.
Like, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, that's a pretty big leap, I think, because the text doesn't say anything about what's happening on Earth. It's just happening saying what happens to heaven. But yeah, I think that makes sense. Like you would think, what would you be doing in that half an hour if this is really what's happening to you?
And it seems like, I mean, either way you look at it, it seems like too long or too short for there to be like an eye of the storm type thing, right? Right. When at first you're like, oh, half an hour of like complete, like shocked silence where we don't know what to do. That seems a little bit long. But then you're like, oh, wait, yeah, the end of everything. Yeah, that seems a little bit short, actually. All right. But then we got these 7 trumpets, right? This is like kind of like the second series of sevens, right? So 7 trumpets are supposed to represent, or it is thought that they represent a second series of judgments, right? The seals were bad.
Right.
The trumpets. Where do you get a load of the trumpets, right?
And then the trumpets, as Lou Bega says.
Yeah. Right. And then the bowls, like just you wait.
Right. So there's 7 seals, and they are opened by the Lamb, and each of them brings out certain things. Like the first 4 bring out the horsemen, and then the 5th and the 6th bring out like the lamentations of the people on the earth.
Right.
And then the 7th brings about this silence, and then it ain't over. We got trumpets, and then we got bowls.
Yes, and each of those are in 7s as well. Right. So
7 is a perfect number.
It is, because this will be great if we can do this exactly 7 times. But I've lost count already. But yeah, so the idea is that these are literal catastrophes that will happen during the tribulation, right? Each trumpet unleashes like a specific disaster on the earth, right? This is God's wrath being poured out on the unbelievers who rejected the gospel, right? And we got so let's talk about these trumpets, right? So the first trumpet brings literal hail and fire mixed with blood, right? Falling from the sky, right? So hail, fire, and blood.
Right.
All 3 of those things, right? 1/3 of all the trees burn up and all the green grass burns up. So, this could be volcanic eruptions, meteor showers, nuclear fallout, right? Or just God just making hail, fire, and blood, right?
Yeah, sure. In the Old Testament, God had done things like that before in
raining
the plagues
blood
of Egypt, right?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Right. So, but yeah, so a lot of interpretations like, well, this must happen in this other way, because I guess, I don't know, by the time we get to the New Testament, we don't see God in quite the same way as him, like going over and like picking and choosing which 1/3 of the trees specifically he's going to be destroying, like eeny meeny mo, eeny meeny mo. That's not how
eeny meeny miny.
That's not how picking goes. Yeah, but I realized as I was saying it, there's 3s, not 4s.
You left out 1/4 of that.
That's 2 bits.
Or half of a piece of 8.
Right.
Yeah. So some prophecy teachers link this to ecological disasters, wildfires, climate events that we're seeing today. That's the popular view of this. Right. And then we get our second trumpet, right? This is oceanic disaster, right? So it describes a literal mountain-sized asteroid or a meteor impacting the ocean, right? It turns 1/3 of the sea into blood, right? Either literal blood or just like a massive red tide of death of all the sea life, right? It destroys 1/3 of sea life and 1/3 of the ships. Hal Lindsey, you might remember, and other prophecy writers have suggested this could be, again, nuclear weapons detonating in the ocean or like a massive asteroid impact.
Right.
And then we get our third trumpet. This is water contamination, or AKA Wormwood. The third trumpet involves a literal star, a comet, or an asteroid falling from space and poisoning 1/3 of fresh water, right? The name Wormwood means bitter poison, right? So for many prophecy teachers, they point to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986 and claim that it fulfilled this prophecy because Chernobyl means wormwood in Ukrainian and Russian. So and then others say like it's a future nuclear disaster or an asteroid impact that is still to come.
Right. The trouble with Chernobyl being the beginning of the end is that was 40 years ago.
Yes.
But yeah, apparently, yeah. So the Ukrainian term for wormwood, which is a actual plant,
yes,
that was known to people in Levant, during the time of the Bible, and it was known for being really bitter and terrible.
Yes.
So yes, Chernobyl is named after Artemisia vulgaris, which is wormwood to some people, mugwort to some people.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
Mugwort.
Yeah, mugwort. I don't remember where.
I think it's
Sounds like a Harry
mudblood. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say like a Harry Potter house or something.
Yeah, so it is apparently very bitter. And then in some of the languages that, of the people of the Middle East, wormwood was synonymous with the word bitter.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't, like how we might say licorice to mean terrible candy. Just literally like the worst. You might say, "Oh, she's just so licorice. She's awful."
I see.
So awful, terrible. Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I can't think of an actual example, but that's that kind of thing. Yeah. So
I'm interested in why they went to the trouble to make it a star.
Right.
When, I mean, like you could just say, and, the sea was infected with wormwood. Wormwoods just started growing in the sea like seaweed, right?
Right.
You could just say that. But like we've already had like an asteroid fall to the earth and, destroy 1/3 of the sea life and the ships and everything like that. And then we get this other star.
Right.
And this star is called Wormwood. And I'm like, just say that the earth, like 1/3 of the earth was infected with this plant called Wormwood.
Right, because I assumed by reading this that Wormwood was the name of a star that people would know back then. That's that's not the case. Yeah,
like one that we aren't like immediately familiar with, like Betelgeuse or and here's Wormwood and here's Orion and here's yeah.
That's what I thought happened, but no. And then I thought, okay, well then the next thing would be that Wormwood is an angel that we don't know. But this is the first time I believe, right, that we have potentially this angel Wormwood who comes down or any of those things in Revelation, right?
Yeah. So it would be like. In the English translation, we're already saying angel.
Right.
So if it was another angel, then they would have used the same word.
Yeah, I would think so. And then I did see that wormwood is mentioned several times in the Hebrew Bible, and then not at all in the New Testament until this.
This is just callbacks from the Old Testament. Like we are skipping over so much New Testament stuff and just calling back but like now with Jesus. It's like we're trying to shoehorn Jesus, the Jesus that we know and love, into like Old Testament style stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is interesting. Like I want there to be more there because it's an interesting name, especially when you cap like Wormtongue, who is a character from The Lord of the Rings, I believe.
Yes, right there with Elrond, and you get Wormtongue right.
I remember Wormtongue.
Oh yeah, who doesn't remember Wormtongue?
Yeah, that's my boy Brad Dourif.
Yeah,
Billy Bibbit from When Flew the Cuckoo's Nest.
Chucky and and all those others. Yeah.
Yeah. So so I really wanted this to be something, and then I don't see much here of like what Wormwood is. It's interesting that in the King James, like when it's mentioned as the star, it's a capital W for Wormwood.
Yeah.
Which makes it feel like really important. But then at the end of that sentence, it turns the waters became wormwood, lowercase w, just meaning the waters became bitter.
Yeah.
Right.
The first time I heard it was I was watching the movie adaptation of Carrie. The old one, the Robert Palmer one. And the mother was quoting the Bible, and of course, now like thinking back on it, yes, of course, this is the book that she would quote. Was Revelation, and she said, and the name of the star was Wormwood. And I just got this weird visual of like a rotten wooden planet with like termites and worms, but it's an entire planet,
Right.
And I was like, that is so weird and like specific, but also vague. And I was like, the star, the name of the star was Wormwood, and it just kind of like sent me spiraling into like, God, like apocalyptic language is so cool and neat because it doesn't make sense. How can a star be made of wood? Like
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the last thing before we move on from Wormwood, I guess, is that...
we're coming back to Wormwood.
Okay, good.
Don't you worry.
But in the town square in Chernobyl, Ukraine, there is a statue of an angel that is there to commemorate the nuclear disaster. And I couldn't find enough, because I don't speak Russian, I don't read Cyrillic. And so it's called the Wormwood Star Memorial, but I don't know if it's like, if in Russian it's giving special, credence to Wormwood the star, or if it's just, again, meaning black stem in Russian for Chernobyl, the plant. I can't tell. But yeah, so I've seen that going around of like, it's already this place where people aren't allowed to go very much, right? There's like 150 people who still live in Chernobyl, I saw. Like, it's not a lot of people. People sneak in, and like, it's if you've seen any footage from there, even, 20 years later, it's really creepy and odd, and like the forest overtaking and being really peaceful, but it's really dangerous. Yeah.
So that's giving me like echoes of like Mirkwood or something like that.
Yeah. So some people go to this this memorial and see it as this meaning of this symbol of the apocalypse, but I don't know. I couldn't find enough about like what the creators intended for it.
Right. Yeah. That reminds me of, I think we had like a similar problem, or not problem, just kind of like an interesting occurrence when you look at the phrase Adam's apple, right? And because like in the Hebrew, Adam just means man. So this guy's, the first man is named man, right? And Adam's apple, I always assumed it's like, oh, okay, it's coming from the Garden of Eden story, and it's because like Adam, it's a very misogynistic, take on it, that Adam didn't swallow the apple all the way, so he's got the bump in his throat. But literally translated, it just means the male bump. You told me this. You taught me this in our, I think it was our Paradise Lost season.
Right.
And so it didn't even mean to announce Adam's proper name in the name of this body part.
Right.
It was just trying to say in ancient Hebrew the bump on the male's throat.
That's right. Yeah.
And we took that as, it's like, oh, Adam's, like not Adam as in man, but Adam as in proper noun name Adam.
Like the creation myth reason why we have that bump.
Right. Yeah. So, and maybe Wormwood, it seems like it's doing a similar thing here with the naming of Chernobyl, is like, it's like, oh, it means like bitter, spoiled, poison, but like also it kind of makes that echo to this chapter in Revelation.
Right.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, there you go. The more you know, folks, the more condemned to hell you are. Knowledge is bad.
That's right.
Don't eat that apple. But okay, yeah. So that's the third trumpet. Let's look at this fourth trumpet, right? This is bringing literal darkening of the sun and the moon and the stars by 1/3, right? Daylight is reduced by 1/3. What people are thinking is this could be like volcanic ash blocking the sun, nuclear winter, right? Some kind of like atmospheric catastrophe, right? Or again, supernatural darkening, like just God being like, no, 1/3 of the day and 1/3 of the night, right? Some link this to Jesus' words in Matthew 24:29 about the sun and the moon being darkened before his return.
Sure.
Right. So yeah. So, and again, I'm sure that's what John was doing too. Like he's again making these callbacks, right? Okay. We've beaten around the bush. We've beaten around 1/3 of the bush. Let's talk about this pattern of thirds, right? So throughout these first 4 trumpets, right? Notice that like 1/3 is affected, right? And people think this represents like partial judgment, giving people time to repent, right? So it's not total destruction yet. That comes later. This shows God's mercy, they say, and the patience, even in judgment, right? He's giving humanity chances to turn back to Him, right? Now let's talk about these 3 woes, right? So at the end of I know, the only way I can think of this is an angel, like on horseback, just being like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
All I could hear is Joey Lawrence, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Whoa, Blossom, whoa. 6, whoa. Blossom's dad, my dad, whoa.
There we go. I was waiting.
I can't remember anybody else.
Yeah. But yeah, so at the end of this chapter, we hear the 3 woes, right? This is the last 3 trumpets, 5, 6, and 7, are going to be even worse than the first 4, right? Woe to the inhabitants of the earth refers to, most people think, the unbelievers, right? Those who have rejected God, right? So things are about to get really, really bad for them.
Right. We'll hear the last 3 trumpets in the next chapter.
Yes, right. So in the popular framework, these are literal physical disasters happening during the 7-year tribulation period, right? They parallel God's judgments on Egypt with, the plagues in Exodus, showing that God can and will judge the earth physically, right? They're meant to bring people to repentance through, though the book tells us that most people won't repent despite these judgments. The prayers of the saints, especially like the martyrs that we saw in chapter 6 crying, how long, right, actually trigger these judgments, right? God is responding to their cries for justice. Right.
Oh, so the silence is for the question from the previous chapter? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, that's what some people are saying is the giving God and heaven time to kind of consider and then respond.
I see. Yeah, I was having trouble because I was like, okay, I was seeing this interpretation that silence is when people are praying up. I'm like, that's not here, but I see. It's from the previous chapter. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Now, okay, Keenan, in a lot of these stories, and we've made a callback to Exodus already, right? You get the people who, even after all of this, still harden their hearts, right? That's the famous one with Pharaoh. He's like, after all of these plagues, he's like, nope, not going to change, not going to do anything. Just keep them coming, God. And then here we have the end of the world and all of this stuff, right? The sea turning to blood and a third of the, the animals and the people just disappearing or dying. And you still have people being like, this is fine. Like that meme with the dog in the house on fire. This is fine, right? That's the hardest part for me to believe. Sure, the sun falling from the sky and raining blood and all of that. But after all of this, are you going to be in your house being just folding your arms, just nope. You're going to have to try harder than that, God.
Well, I guess I would, because I was going to say, well, the way that the Bible lays it out here in Revelation is that you'd see God and you'd see these messengers, and it'd be very clear this is happening because of God, right? But I think a believer in Revelation might say back to me that no, God has sent His messengers in people like me and the Word in the Bible that says this is going to happen, and you are still refusing, to believe in it without seeing His face and hearing His voice.
Actually, yeah, that's a very, very good point. I was thinking of me literally sitting by my window, and I just open the curtain and you just see and me being like, no. Underdone potato, bit of beef or whatever, that Scrooge says.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is, I think, closer to kind of the story I like to tell myself in, what if Jesus already has come back? What if He already has come back and He was that homeless lady that you passed on the street?
Yep.
And we missed it because we're looking for the fire in the sky. We're looking for, the 4 horsemen as actual 4 guys on horses. And we're not noticing, oh, wait, no, famine is here. Death is here. Like war is here. It's all happening, but we're missing it because we're looking for the lion. We're missing the lamb. Yeah. So I think,
I can imagine that happening to me.
Yeah.
Everything always happens to me.
Well, of course, the 4 horsemen would show up when I'm alive.
Right. And I would notice them because my DVR is full, and I'm calling the company to ask why I don't have the proper space in my DVR that I'm paying for every month.
Honey, there were 4 people. They showed up at the house yesterday.
Hold on, I'm on the phone.
They say it's very important.
I'm on the phone. If I hang up, I got to call over again.
Should I give them a message?
Yeah.
No. If it's that important, they will come back. They say it's the last time. They're bluffing. They want our money. They will come back.
Well, if they keep coming back, why don't you tell them to pay my Spectrum bill? You get on the phone with Cox.
Yeah. And that's right when you get somebody, right? It's like, yes, hello, welcome to, I don't know why it's Deirdre. It's, but
right.
How can I help you? Yes, no, the Wormwood clause clearly states.
Right, clearly states.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think from a believer's point of view, it's very clear, why would anybody not repent for this?
Right.
But no, I'd just be sitting there like I'm doing now, doing my podcast. I was like, what am I doing right now? Literally right now. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm doing my podcast.
You say, wait. You're saying that the end of the world is happening on Monday. Can we move it to Wednesday, just kind of where, I'm kind of more in the rhythm of the week,
That's right.
We just got back from church on Sunday, and now I got to do another churchy thing. The apocalypse.
Right.
Sheesh. Yeah. But no, it makes sense, right? Okay, well, now let's put on our thinking caps.
All right.
Let's approach this from a more scholarly / historical angle.
Okay.
Right? And let's look at what people who are familiar with the language, with the history, with the language culture think is happening in these chapters. Now, our chapter opens the seventh seal. I just realized that now. It's chapter 8, but we're talking about the seventh seal. Already this is bothering me. But this turns out to contain the 7 trumpets. This is a structural device showing how the visions nest inside each other and overlap, right? So this is not, a strict chronological timeline, right?
Okay.
This is one of those, we were just talking about Chernobyl. This is one of those Russian dolls.
Okay.
So, the seventh seal, silence in heaven, right? When the Lamb opens the seventh seal, there is, quote, silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. So like in previous chapters, heaven has been filled with constant worship, right? Holy, 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 worthy is the Lamb, the sevenfold doxologies, the myriads of angels singing, and now there is total silence. It's almost like you get the idea that like this is the first time since the creation that heaven has had no sound.
Right. That's how I feel, right?
Yeah. So, why silence, right? We need to look at the Old Testament background, right? Zechariah chapter 2, verse 13 says, be silent, all flesh before the Lord, for he is roused from his holy dwelling. And then we got Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 20 declares, but the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Wait, hang on. Is that where Henry Kane from Poltergeist 2 gets, because he sings that creepy song.
Oh, I don't know it very well.
Right? He says, God is in his holy temple. Earthly thoughts, be silent now. Yes.
Well, that must be it.
Okay. But yeah, so be silent before the Lord God, for the day of the Lord is near, right? And in Hebrew scripture, silence before God equals awe, reverence, the presence of the holy, right? Anticipation of divine action. So it is like what we were thinking. It's kind of like this eye of the storm, but it's more than just terrible. It's terrible in its original meaning, right? Terrible, terrific, awesome, awful, right? Like the awful powers, the awesome powers of the Lord, right? So we are in awe, we are in terror. So after the 6 seals of increasing intensity, the 7th seal creates this dramatic pause, right? The silence itself is an answer, right? The weightiness of what's about to unfold requires silence, right? Think of the moment before, like, a verdict is read, right? We find the defendant a kooky old man who dresses up as a Scottish nanny, Daniel. No, right? Or the held breath before like a storm breaks, right?
Yeah, going back to the Bergman film, The Seventh Seal, like that seems to be the key part of this for Bergman's understanding of his relationship with God is the silence part of it. And in The Seventh Seal, so, kind of spoilery, but not really, the silence is answered. So there is an answer at the end of it, and it's both a terrible ending and also a happy ending. It's sort of, some people have happy endings, some people join the dance of death and die terrible deaths.
Right.
But like the idea of like later Bergman, because that's relatively early in his career, that's 1957. In the 60s, Bergman starts dealing with questions of, well, what are we doing while we're waiting, essentially? Like it here in Revelation, it is like we are waiting with bated breath. Like these things are coming. Are we supposed to do something? What is God going to do? And most of Bergman's theology in the 60s and on, in the 70s and 80s, is like, what are we supposed to be doing? Like we, no matter what we do, if we live the life that we're told we're supposed to live, we don't see any answers within our lifetimes, and people, grow up and die off without ever getting an answer from God.
Right.
In this silence. And he has movies like one that's called The Silence, that's about a woman who is dying and, calling out to God, and there is no answer. And then even ones that aren't as on the nose as that's what most of it is from then on. It's like people dying and shitting themselves and, having these awful lives, and there is no response from God.
Yeah.
Even for people who want to believe in it.
Right. Yeah. Now, we've talked about, so we keep on talking about The Seventh Seal, the Ingmar Bergman film. Should we give like just a quick little summary of that? Because like I keep on, joking about, it's like, oh, death, he's in it. And, why aren't we talking about this? Why isn't the title of the movie The Fourth Seal,
Yeah, so I guess I can kind of try to summarize it without giving away like the ending or the answers it goes to. But this is like during the Black Death, and it has this knight who's come back from the Crusades, and he is
played by Max von Sydow, our Father Merrin in The Exorcist. Yes,
right. Yeah. So he's come back from the Crusades, and he's been ordered to go and kill Muslims in order to save the Holy Land, and most of the people have died. And he's come back, and he has started to understand that was a fool's errand, and it was not a holy mission.
Not just a fool's errand, but like a massive weight on his heart and a sin. And
yes, that he was doing these things for God, and maybe there's no God, right? And so then he arrives back, and just in time for everyone to be dying of the plague, and he lands on the beach, and he's going to go home. All he wants to do is go home to his wife, and alongside him on the beach is Death, the Grim Reaper, like looking exactly what you think the Grim Reaper would look like. Yeah. And pale face and the hood and everything. And he says, it's your time now. And he says, well, because he just wants to go and see his wife one last time, like he says, why don't we play a game of chess? And if I win, then I get to keep my soul. And if you win, then I'll go with you quietly, right? And Death lets him do that, even though he has nothing really to gain, because he's either going to kill him now or kill him later. Right. But he seems just to be excited at the idea of like someone, who can see him and who is like standing up to him. And so along the way, they do this kind of like Canterbury Tales sort of thing where they go and meet new pilgrims, and they go throughout the countryside, and whenever the night is alone, exactly, a troop of actors, and he's Death shows him a witch being burned, and he looks into the witch's eyes and is like, I don't see anything behind her eyes as she was going into hell or to heaven, and whenever they're alone, the Death is trying to like basically like crush his faith early and like show him like this terrible thing, so he'll give up the game of chess. So so then at the end they get there, and what happened? I don't know how much I want to spoil this, because this is one of the classics of world cinema, and if you haven't seen it, you should see it. But they get to the castle, and he sees his wife, and they've got all the pilgrims there with them, everyone together, and then we get this quote about the seventh seal, and then the Lamb opened the seventh seal, and there was silence in heaven for about the space of half an hour. And then it could either become a metaphorical end for those characters or not, depending on how you see it. Yeah. But some characters have happy endings, some characters have terrible endings. Right. Yeah. And I guess like part of, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if this is too spoilery is why I'm having an eye. But potentially in certain readings of it, not everybody reads it this way, but that in going to see his castle one last time, he has brought the Black Death with him. Oh. And done worse than if he had let Death like take him on the beach. Right. So you don't have to read it that way, but that's how some people read it. Right. I see. So by, I guess, acknowledging the divine, because he talks to Death and he makes this deal with Death and everything like that, it turns out worse for him, because then he goes home and infects everybody. Right. Okay. So yeah, folks, I mean, I saw it a very, very long time ago, but I kind of want to watch it again, The Seventh Seal. Do we know if this is where the whole, hey, let me play chess with you thing comes from? Because obviously it's not in Revelation or anywhere else in the Bible. Yeah. So did Ingmar Bergman coin that? Yes, I think that there have been a long time of like stories about like trying to play a certain game with Death, or to like Death in that way, but not chess specifically. So I'm pretty sure that's the first time. And then fast forward all the way to Bill and Ted 2 and playing Twister. That's right. But yeah, okay, thank you, Keenan. Because I was wondering why. It's like, well, yeah, he's Death isn't in the seventh seal; he's in the fourth seal. Right, so, but yeah, the more important part is that silence. Is the silence at the end of the seventh seal, right? Yeah, right. Okay, let's talk about that half an hour, right? So I think we speculated already, but like the Greek, right, hemiorion, literally means half hour. Okay. So it is literally, even in the Greek, half hour. Now, does that mean we're supposed to take it literally? In visionary and apocalyptic literature, probably not. It suggests a brief but significant pause, long enough to be meaningful but not long enough to be eternal. So in the same way that like 40 days and 40 nights means a really long time, or like 144,000 meaning like a great multitude, right? Half an hour could be a little bit of time. It's like a long time, but not a long, long time. Right. But so I guess, it could be idiomatic. In the scheme of things, right? It's like nothing. It's like your heart skipping a beat. Right. Yeah. So there was like, we need a pause. It's like my heart skipped a beat, but it's like the heart of the universe skipped a beat. Right. So you need maybe like half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So heaven, which has been ceaselessly worshiping the Creator in chapter 4, and the Lamb in chapter 5 goes silent to make space for the prayers of the suffering saints in verses 3 and 4, or just being a dramatic pause before, I guess you could say, all hell breaks loose, right? Or some people say that God is literally stopping everything to listen to us, the prayers of the persecuted.
Yeah, I saw that a lot. Yeah, that's a much more positive view. But I think
I do like that. I like, it's like, because what was the other thing, right? Like he takes notice when a sparrow falls, right? It's like he made everything, but like even when like a little bird, like gets in trouble, he's like, and he notices. So that idea that like amidst all of the whirling and the spinning of the cosmos, he notices you, right? And he's worried about you, right? And that is a wholesome kind of like good feeling, right? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about these symbols, right? We got the altar, the incense, and the prayers, right? So we got 7 angels, right? Hoi hepta angeloi, right? So these angels are standing before God, quote unquote, before God, right? This is a position of honor and service. But before they sound their trumpets, right? Another angel, right? Alos angelos, appears with a golden censer. So this is temple imagery, right? Liturgical language from the Jerusalem temple, right? The golden altar of incense stood before the what's called the Holy of Holies, right? As described in Exodus chapter 30, verses 1 through 10, right? Priests burned incense daily, as we see in Exodus chapter 30, verses 7 through 8, and in Luke chapter 1, verses 8 through 11, right? And when Zechariah is burning the incense, right? So the incense represented prayers rising to God, right? Psalm 141, verse 2 says, "Let my prayer be counted as incense before you." Right?
So I had to look it up. But so a censer is what you burn incense in. I guess it's
Yeah. And you see that in Catholic churches too. You got the priests, and they hold like the swinging censer, on a chain, and it's kind of like swinging, and the smoke is like billowing all around.
Right.
So yeah, so clear kind of temple imagery. I like how, I guess, both in Christianity and Judaism, the idea that our religious buildings are mirrors of what goes on in the other world. It's like, well, we have censers, so they must have censers. We have an altar, so heaven must have an altar. You know what I mean? Right? And the angels are like the altar boys and the priests and the officials down on earth are performing the same kind of like ritual as the angels up in heaven. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Right. And the choir and, well, maybe not blowing trumpets. That doesn't happen in my church, but you know what I mean?
Get the cops called on you. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. 1/3 of the cops of Las Vegas. Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, it's very, very interesting, this temple imagery, right? Now, okay, these prayers of all the saints, right? What have the saints been praying? We've already heard their prayers, right? In chapter 6, verse 10, right? The martyrs under the altar cry, "How long, O Lord, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood," right? And then back in chapter 5, verse 8, we're told the golden bowls full of incense, right? These are prayers of the saints, right? So these prayers are for justice. How long will the oppressors go unpunished, right? When will righteousness prevail? So then the smoke ascends before God in verse 4. Their prayers are received, heard, and valued. Then something dramatic happens. The angel fills the censer with fire from the altar and hurls it to the earth in verse 5, right? So the result is, right, there were voices, thunderings, lightnings, and an earthquake, all right? So what does this mean? The fire from the altar, the same altar where the martyrs' prayers rose, is cast to earth. This is answered prayer. The judgments that follow are not arbitrary divine violence, but God's response to the cries of the oppressed. The, quote, voices, thunderings, lightnings, earthquake echo Mount Sinai in Exodus chapter 19, verse 16 to 19, where God appeared, right? The temple visions in Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 24 to 28, and previous visions in Revelation, like the throne room in chapter 4, verse 5, right? This signals that divine action is beginning. God is responding. I never thought about it that way, like that this is the response to calling unto God.
That he's going to refuse some people right away?
Like calling, like save us. And then he's like, okay. And then he's unleashing judgment on the bad people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So because that's what the martyrs are asking for. They're like, how long until, we are avenged? And then this is the answer, like right now.
Half an hour.
Yeah. Right. or your apocalypse is free. Right. And you can see, you know, how like when you order online, you see the little animation of, you know, the apocalypse getting ready.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, here's the, you know, they're emptying out the bowls, and, you know, here's the 7 trumpets, and
Right.
it's like, oh, the little horsemen are kneading it with their little feet, you know.
Yeah, the angels are putting their little diaper togas on.
Right? They got little chef's hats, and, you know. Right. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's excruciating silence for about half an hour as you watch this thing. You're like, come on. Right? It's on its way. It's coming. Yeah. Right. But yeah, okay, so these trumpets, these 7 trumpets, this isn't random either, right? They echo 2 major Old Testament traditions. First, there are the Exodus plagues, right? From Exodus chapter 7 through 11, right? God judged Egypt with 10 plagues to free Israel, right? The trumpet judgments parallel these with blood, water turned to poison or bitterness, darkness, hail, and fire. Right, so destruction of vegetation, of water, and death of the people. Right? No frogs, though.
No frogs, no.
Yeah.
Save those. No locusts.
Yeah, right. But then, okay, there's the fall of Jericho from Joshua chapter 6, right? 7 priests with 7 trumpets marched around Jericho for 7 days. And then on the 7th day, they blew the trumpets and the walls fell, right? So the city was conquered, not by military might, but by liturgical action and divine intervention.
Right.
Right. So so John is saying this: just as God judged Egypt, the empire enslaving God's people, and conquered Jericho, the fortified city opposing Israel's entry, God will judge Rome, the empire persecuting the church. Right. The trumpets are liturgical announcements of God's judgment on empire, echoing how God has acted in the past.
Just now with more Jesus.
Yes, this is the. I guess if we're thinking of this whole thing as like a symphony. This is like the theme returning. This is like the first theme and the second theme combining.
Right.
You know, like in a final like crescendo, you know, type thing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but let's look at this pattern of thirds, right? So before we look at each trumpet individually, notice something important. Each of the first 4 trumpets affects the third part or triton. A third of trees and grass, a third of the sea becomes blood, a third of the sea creatures die, a third of the ships are destroyed, a third of rivers and waters become bitter, and a third of sun, moon, and stars are darkened in verse 12, right?
Yeah, I just have trouble with the third parts of it. So 2/3 are good, 1/3 is bad. 1/3 destroyed now, 2/3 destroyed later.
Well, yeah, okay, so why thirds, right? So again, partial judgment, right? This isn't total destruction. It's limited to, it's a limited but devastating impact, right? So again, it echoes Ezekiel chapter 5, verses 1 through 2, where a third of Jerusalem's people would die by plague, a third by the sword, a third scattered, right? Also echoes Zechariah chapter 13, verses 8 through 9, right? 2/3 will be struck down, but 1/3 will be left, right? I will refine them, is what he says, right? So yeah, so the third suggests, well, 3 things, right? First, judgment is real and severe, right? A third is a huge portion, right? Second, it's not total annihilation, right? 2/3 remain, right? And then third, there's still time for repentance, right? So the purpose is to bring people to their senses, right? Not their censors.
No, we need.
Well, actually, yeah, to their senses, right? To church, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about how we say decimated to mean wiped out, but that originally is killing 1/10 of you.
Right, decimal, right?
Right. Not leaving 1/10 of you.
Killing 1/10.
Killing 1/10 of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a third. Oh, that's let's see, 1/10 to that's 3 times as much and a little bit more. Yeah.
There you go. That was a very good save. 3 times as much and a little bit more.
Yeah, and a remainder of 3 and a third of a guy.
Carry the Y. Carry the Y because we love you. Right. But yeah, in first century context, the devastation of war, economic collapse, natural disaster under Roman rule, right? They didn't affect everyone equally or totally, but it affected enough to be catastrophic, right? So 1/3 of the city's population dying, 1/3 of the crops destroyed, 1/3 of trade routes disrupted equals civilization threatening disaster, right? I mean, we talked about, like the Black Death took, what was it, 1/3 of Europe?
Right.
Yeah, right. And that seems like when we say 1/3, it doesn't seem like a lot, but like think about 1/3 of all of Europe. That's a lot. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, look to your left, look to your right, kiss your ass goodbye.
Yep. But yeah, so these trumpets talking about geographical and populational like devastation, right? Destroying a third of, the people, the animals, the trees, the water, right? But I want to take a look at Wormwood again.
Okay.
Right? So we come to our third trumpet, right, in verses 10 and 11, right? There fell a great star from heaven. Falling star, morning star, made me think, burning as it were a lamp, right? And the name of the star is called Wormwood. Again, right? And the name of him that sat on him was Death, right? So, okay, this, I think you alluded to it before, Keenan. We need to understand what Wormwood was or is actually, because it's still, like a thing, right? So a spinthos in Greek, right, is a real plant, right? Artemisia absinthium. Right? It's a bitter aromatic herb that grows throughout Europe, Asia, and North Africa. It is extremely bitter tasting and was used in small amounts medicinally as a digestive aid and as an anti-parasitic. Hence, wormwood.
Yeah, the people who called it wormwood as opposed to mudblood or whatever the other version of it was, they literally
Hufflepuff, I think.
Hufflepuffs, yeah. They literally believed that wormwood was killing the worms in their intestines.
Right. So it is toxic in large quantities and is the main ingredient in absinthe, right? That famous, green fairy liquor, right? So not deadly in normal doses, but the bitterness is so intense, it is associated with suffering and poison. In ancient time, wormwood was synonymous with bitterness, calamity, and undrinkable water.
Right. You probably heard that like absinthe, if you drink too much of it, you can die, which isn't true, but it kind of goes towards like the mystique of that drink.
Right.
But again, not having had any absinthe before, not having had a drink at all, like I can imagine the way that they're describing it, that like you would be convinced of that if you had more than a couple of shots of it, you would think that you were dying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You might have also heard that absinthe makes the heart grow fonder. This is also not true. No.
No.
But yeah. But no, so Old Testament background is important when looking at wormwood, right? It appears multiple times in the Hebrew Bible, always as a metaphor for bitterness, suffering, or divine judgment, right? Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 18 warns against idolatry with, quote, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood, right? So bitterness and poison from turning away from God, right? So God is the thing that is kind of like cleaning the poison out of you. And if you turn away from him, then you're going to be infected with wormwood, right? Proverbs chapter 5, verse 4 says about the adulteress, quote, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Right? Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 15 pronounces God's judgment on Israel. Behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood and give them water of gall to drink. Right? So yeah, so it's all over the place, right? So this pattern is very, very clear. Wormwood equals bitterness, suffering, the consequences of injustice or unfaithfulness. Water is made undrinkable, right? So when John writes about a star called wormwood falling and making the waters bitter, his audience, right, again, steeped in Hebrew scripture, would immediately understand several things. First, this is judgment language, specifically echoing Jeremiah's warnings about God making Israel drink wormwood as consequence for injustice and idolatry, right? Second, water contamination equals catastrophe, right? In the ancient world, poisoned water sources meant death, right? A third of the waters becoming undrinkable would devastate communities, right? And then, yeah, I was saying before, it's like, why not just, give us colorful imagery about the plant wormwood, growing and sprouting in the sea and on the earth and making everything bitter, right? But our guy John, he wants to link this back to that other fallen star that we are very familiar with from Isaiah 14:12, our buddy Lucifer, right? Oh, Lucifer, son of the morning, right? The fall of Babylon's king, later interpreted as Satan's fall, right? So a star falling equals the collapse of power that thought itself exalted, right? So that's the important thing, is we change it into a falling star because it is mirroring the pride and the haughtiness that we had before. So it's not like oh, wormwood, got in there without you knowing, despite your best protections, and it still grew within your community and in your seas and in your waters, right? It's you did this to yourself, right? You thought yourself so sweet and without bitterness, but that was the reason for your fall, and you're turning to bitterness. Yeah.
Yeah, and there, so it's interesting that like they make the distinction between like the waters you would fish from and the waters you would sail through, and then this one has a particularly like ironic version of it for fresh water, for drinking water.
And I was just so tickled by the fact that, because like Keenan, the only other star that I think about when I'm thinking about biblical stars, well, I guess there's a star, there's the nativity star, but I think of the morning star, and I think of Wormwood, and that is the actual reason that they made Wormwood a star, because they were trying to make the callback to the devil.
Right.
So there we go, folks. Without even realizing it, we're talking about the devil on this show about the devil.
Good. I'm glad.
Thank goodness. Yeah. But okay, let's talk about some later interpretations. Speaking of, right? So over the years, Wormwood has been interpreted in increasingly bizarre ways. In the medieval and Reformation era, some interpreters took, quote, a great star from heaven completely literally, thinking of it as a comet or a meteor that would physically fall and poison Earth's water, right? This reading lost the sort of metaphorical nature of apocalyptic language. Many medieval commentators said Wormwood represented specific heretics or heresies poisoning the quote-unquote pure waters of Christian doctrine, right? So depending on who you were, Wormwood might be Arius in the 4th century, Muhammad in medieval Christian polemic, various popes if you were Protestant, or Martin Luther if you were Catholic. Basically, whoever you theologically opposed was Wormwood.
And there's also been attempts to like, hey, let's put this back in, into at least the Roman times, I suppose. And they've also saw it being about Attila the Hun. That Wormwood was Attila who would come through and, successfully had sacked Rome.
Right. Yeah. And everybody in Rome, because he was successful, everybody in Rome was bitter. just folding their arms and kicking their rocks and just, shucks.
Right.
What's wrong, buddy? I'm just feeling a little Wormwood today. Aw. Well, you should feel a little bit horse metal. I was trying to think of the opposite of both
of
wood and
early bird.
Yeah.
Birds are the opposite of worms.
There we go. Yeah.
Worms get eaten by birds.
Right. So you should think of you should feel a little bit more bird fire. Because fire eats wood. Yeah. We got it.
All right. If wood is strong and solid, maybe you should be more bird shit.
There we go. Right. The 7 elements. Yeah. But okay, in modern fundamentalist and dispensationalist times, many prophecy teachers interpret this as a literal asteroid or comet impact during the tribulation, which will poison the Earth's water supply, right? This is pretty popular in end times novels and prophecy charts. Right? But the wildest and most persistent modern interpretation is nuclear disaster, right? So the Chernobyl theory.
Okay.
Right? So in 1986, Chernobyl nuclear disaster occurred in Ukraine, which was then part of the USSR. But yeah, as we said, Chernobyl literally means wormwood in Russian and Ukrainian.
Yeah, it means black stem, yeah.
And actually, they would be very familiar because it actually grows abundantly in that region, right? So prophecy teachers went absolutely crazy with this. They claimed Chernobyl means wormwood. Revelation chapter 8, verse 11 predicted this, right? We had books, sermons, documentaries claimed Chernobyl fulfilled the wormwood prophecy, right? Wormwood happened in 1986, right? When would wormwood happen? Wormwood would happen in 1986.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a sign that the end times had begun.
So, I mean, I rest pretty that it didn't happen those 39 years ago, but that means the 40th anniversary is next year.
I mean, it could be just happening really slowly.
Really, that must be it.
Yep. Yeah. So, and others claimed that it proved that the Soviet Union was central to the end times prophecy.
Yep.
The timing, in the mid-1980s with the Cold War anxiety and the nuclear fears made this interpretation very popular. Right. I'm thinking back on, again, I haven't read Left Behind. I guess I should. I've seen, I think there's a graphic novel of it too. Do you know who the Antichrist is supposed to be? Do you know his name?
He's what? He's like Romanian.
Yeah, it's very,
what is it?
like Eastern European.
Yeah.
His name is Nikolai. Nikolai Carpathia.
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
I know Carpathia from Dracula.
Yes.
Because that's where Dracula's castle is.
Yes.
Is in the Carpathian Mountains.
That's right.
And I'm just like you guys couldn't have thought of another Eastern European last name. Nikolai Carpathia.
Maybe they picked a last name maybe they're trying not to get sued by, saying so.
Right.
Lester Clark is the Antichrist.
Well, I mean, I'd be pretty stoked. I mean, I'd be pretty Bram stoked about that. But Keenan, I can see one hole in this holy interpretation.
Oh yeah.
That Chernobyl equals Wormwood, and it's proof that Revelation is happening. Can you see?
Just one.
Well, a big one. It's that Wormwood is supposed to fall from heaven, but this is a ground level reactor meltdown. Right.
Yeah, not only that, you had to dig up the uranium to begin with from the ground.
So it's under the earth, right? So yeah, but despite this, it's still cited as quote unquote proof that Revelation is being fulfilled.
Right.
But okay, remember what I was talking about, like how it gave me visuals of like this rotten wooden, planet type thing.
Right.
Some conspiracy theorists actually think that it's like some kind of rogue planet or brown dwarf star called Nibiru that will pass near Earth, causing catastrophe.
Yeah, sometimes it's like I think Planet X and Nibiru are like, I think some people believe they're the same thing and some people believe those are separate things. So, but I always hear those together.
But yeah, so this has been predicted to happen repeatedly and keeps, not happening.
Right.
The idea that it's going to pass, near us and poison all the waters and stuff. Over the centuries, various political figures have been identified as Wormwood. We got Napoleon. We got Hitler. We got Stalin, right? Various popes. Saddam Hussein. Whoever is the current geopolitical villain. Whoever is the current geopolitical villain. As in the one that the entire political world is looking at being like, fuck this guy. I can't imagine anybody right now. But yeah.
I wonder if anyone's calling anybody Wormwood today.
Yeah, nobody. I actually, that's one that I haven't heard.
I have not heard that.
I've heard many other things, but not no Wormwood yet. Yeah.
Well, I wonder if Putin is being called Wormwood or anything like that.
Possibly. Yeah. Not the Great Red Dragon. Not. I mean, once we get to the Antichrist episode, I got some things to say about talking about Trump. If you haven't figured out, guys. But yeah, nobody's called him Wormwood yet.
I can't see that. No.
Yeah, weird. But yeah, the pattern is always the same. People constantly try to map Revelation's imagery on current events rather than understanding it in its original context. Right? So, do people think it's a star or asteroid? Yes, many do, depending on their interpretive framework. Right? Literal futurists believe it's an actual celestial object. It is an asteroid. It's a comet. It's a planet that will literally fall and poison Earth's waters during future tribulation. This is common in dispensational circles. Conspiracy theorists think it's a hidden planet or a star that astronomers are covering up, or a coming asteroid impact the government knows about, right? But other readers understand it as metaphorical, representing the fall of a power like Rome, empire in general, or Satan. Right, and the bitter consequences that follow. Right, so describing the collapse of an empire and the bitter suffering that results, not literal astronomical events. Right now, Keenan, you might be more familiar. I'm certainly more familiar with C.S. Lewis's use of Wormwood in the Screwtape Letters.
I haven't read that. I'm looking forward to us doing it. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very, very excited. Actually, the Screwtape Letters was the reason I wanted to do this show. It's a series of letters from a senior demon named Screwtape to his nephew Wormwood, who's a junior tempter trying to secure the damnation of a young man called the Patient. Right, so Lewis assumed his British readers knew Revelation and would catch the reference immediately. Right, so Wormwood in Scripture represents bitterness and the consequences of turning from God, which is perfect for a demon whose job it is to make humans bitter, cynical, and miserable. Yeah, so keep an ear out for that once we get to that season.
All right.
But yeah, on that note, that is the Seventh Seal, not the Ingmar Bergman film, although we did talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I could talk about that all day.
Oh yeah. Maybe that'll be like a bonus thing.
Sure.
You want to like talk about the? I mean, it's got death.
Right.
So that's one part of Revelation. And it's got the seventh seal. That's the other part of Revelation.
That's a big part, yeah.
Yeah. It's got Max von Sydow. That's. I mean, he's not in Revelation. He should be. But yeah, what did we think of Chapter 8, Keenan?
Yeah, I think I've read it a couple times because I'm trying. Whenever I teach the Seventh Seal, the movie, I try to pull it up. But that is reading it the way that Dr. Bart Ehrman says is the wrong way to read this. Reading the Bible and just like looking up like it's a dictionary. So seeing it in context is very interesting, and seeing what has gone before, what comes afterwards, and then Wormwood is entirely new to me. So whenever I'd read it before, that I just hadn't really thought about it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought all that in about Wormwood and who it could be. It's a plant.
Or what? Yeah,
or what plant it could be.
It's the absinthe plant. Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, folks, this has been another episode of The Devil's Details. I've been Lester Ryan Clark. You can summon me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I've been Keenan Diaz. You can invoke me on Instagram or Letterboxd as Howdy Keenan.
Yeah, find more of our shows and other really cool podcasts at truestory.fm, or feel free to drop us a message at Banana for Scale Mail, that's MAIL, @gmail.com. We got our Facebook listener group, Banana for Scale. It's a community for all of our shows, including this one. It's a private group, but just request to join and we'll let you into the infernal family. If you want more, consider joining us at truestory.fm/join and look for Banana for Scale. That's us. You get bonus episodes of all our shows, access to our Discord, and you get your episodes a week early and ad-free. Pretty cool. Just $5. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? We're not even asking for your souls. Just give us a 5 pentagram rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. That and sharing the show by word of mouth or on social media is going to help our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. All right. Until next time, folks, love and hisses. Mwah.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.